Buonasera, welcome to Fiori. Today, for the first time ever, I will be divulging my risotto secrets, showing you our current risotto, which is Risotto allo Sardo. It's a Sardinian traditional risotto made with pork, shallots, onions, and thyme. All our pork products come from Leahy Farms in Lee, where we get a whole pig every other week. Andiamo. First, always prepare risotto in a pot. Start with a sauce pot, the appropriate size. This is good for 1 to 2 people. A little bit of oil in the bottom of the pot, and we'll start cooking our sofrito. Sofrito is the Italian term for all the vegetables you start a sauce with, or braise, or a stock, or anything. Anything that you saute to start it off. So, for today, our sofrito will consist of shallots and pork. The pan is hot. Add the diced pork and the shallots. Gently stir, always with a wooden spoon. Very important. You want the wooden spoon to, because some things could get stuck to the bottom of the pan. You don't want to scrape them up from the pan. You want to let them sit there as a foundation to the sauce. And also because metal on metal can sometimes create a metallic flavor in your food. So if you'll check it out, in the pan, you want to make sure you have enough oil to saute the sofrito, as well as a little extra since we'll be toasting the rice in the oil. Once it gets going, the onions look a little soft, the pork is starting to get a little bit of color. We'll add our risotto. We use only acquarello risotto. It's the best rice in the world. It's a DOC rice, which means the government controls how it's produced and where it comes from. It is hand harvested, select plants only, finely polished, and aged in oak casks for a year. So it's riso invecchiato, or aged rice. 1 espresso cup is the portion per person, for a creamy sized portion. So you add the rice, toast it in the oil. You want to toast the risotto in the oil until it becomes slightly translucent around the edges. Should take between 45 and 90 seconds. Definitely don't do it for more than 90 seconds. Okay, once it's starting to look good, we are going to add our vegetable brodo. We use vegetable brodo to cook all our risotto. You can use water as well if you prefer, or you can use beef or chicken stock. Make sure that if you're using a stock, you season it to taste before you start cooking. Even if you're using water, you should set the water aside and make it just a little mildly salted, because you want the seasoning to slowly cook into the rice so that the salt penetrates it. And now we're going to leave it on a simmer. It should take about 18 to 20 minutes to cook. Some people say you have to stir risotto constantly. I find as long as you stir it every couple minutes for the entire cooking process, you'll have a wonderfully creamy risotto. So there, we're just stirring it to make sure that some of the starch comes out of the grains. When the liquid level gets down to about this much, you want to add brodo again, just to come. Coming along beautifully. Usually 3 additions of stock or brodo is the way to go, but the best way to tell when your risotto is done is you take a single grain and squeeze it between your fingers until it's completely mashed. And see, you got to check out the inside. That's a little bit too much raw rice to cooked rice ratio. Should crumble just right. So we know we have to go a little bit longer. Stock, the third and theoretically final addition of stock. At this point, we are also going to add tomatoes. Fresh tomatoes are not the way to go for this. You definitely want to use peeled tomato. We use a peeled cherry tomato that's very sweet and delicious, imported from Italy. Just break up the tomatoes a little bit. I'm also going to add the fresh thyme. Definitely use fresh, try to avoid using dry. I don't have a single dried herb in the house. Not that there's anything wrong with dried herbs, it's just not my style. I prefer the fresh flavors. We're looking pretty close here. The chef and me can tell that it's done just by looking at it, but we'll go to the squeeze test nonetheless. So you can see, it's just a tiny dot of raw rice in the middle. The remaining ingredient is grated pecorino cheese. Sheep's milk cheese is as important as cow's milk cheese in Italy, especially in Sardinia. They have more sheep than cows. So it's important to turn the risotto off and let it rest for about 2 minutes. Let it cool down a little bit for about 2 minutes before the final stage, which is whipping it. And that basically allows the sauce to thicken up a little bit. So when we do finally whip it, it will contain more air and be fluffier and lighter. No one wants a dense, sticky, heavy risotto. Everyone wants a light, fluffy, delicious risotto. So, looking at the pan, I can tell just needs a little tad more liquid. So I'm going to put a tiny splash of vegetable brodo. You want it to be the right consistency before you whip it, just to make sure it will hold. So that's pretty much what we're looking for. That it should be mostly clinging to the grains, but still a little bit loose. The last stage, this is risotto mantecato, or whipped risotto. You vigorously attack the risotto, trying to get air into it, trying to make sure it's nice and fluffy and light and delicious. And you can see after you do that, it gets a nice sheen on it, it's got that nice texture. Before we serve it, we have to taste it to make sure it is delicious enough. Fantastico. When cooking with seasoned brodo, you rarely need to add salt.